Okay, so now we will have a panel with Lachlan, Nuria, Lachlan, Javier, and me. So Lachlan, we wanted to ask Javier and me any question. Most of the question will be answered by Javier, that he's the real expert, but I will be here just in case I can support.
Yeah, thanks, Jose. Yeah, I definitely do have some questions for you guys, based on kind of my understanding of what our clients, like what I'm seeing our clients asking us, and also some of the questions coming up in the chat here we'll want to get to. So firstly, the kind of flow I want to take us in, the journey I want to go on is, I think there might be some vendors out there kind of wondering how would they know if they needed EUCC? Like, do I need EUCC? Can I just keep doing my CCRA thing that I was doing? Like, what are the vendors who would really, who this would be on their radar? And so I kind of want to talk a bit about that and then get into the specifics of like, okay, if I'm a vendor and I know I need CCRA and EUCC, what should I do? And how would we go about that? So maybe the first question about who are the vendors who need EUCC? I guess one camp would be, it'd be safe to say, if I had to do SOG-IS previously, I'll now have to do EUCC. Do you think that's a fair statement?
Okay, so hello everyone. First of all, before answering any question, I would like to have a minor disclaimer, because I don't have more information than what is already public. I don't speak on behalf of the European Commission. I don't speak on behalf of ENISA or the ad hoc working group or anyone else but myself. So I of course will share my vision and opinion, but of course I can go wrong, and I usually do from time to time. So okay, so trying to answer your question, cybersecurity certification is not mandatory. All the European schemes are designed to be voluntary schemes. So a certification under the EUCC itself will not be mandatory, but you may find other regulations that may take advantage of this EUCC to require certification in a mandatory way. So it looks like here in Europe, we love regulations. So we first created this Cybersecurity Act to create cybersecurity certification schemes. The first one being the UCC. But on the other hand, in practically at the same time, we created the Cyber Resilience Act. And this Cyber Resilience Act, it will be mandatory for all products with digital elements. And one of the possibilities precluded by this Cyber Resilience Act is to use European cybersecurity certifications to demonstrate conformance to the Cyber Resilience Act. So this is not a reality now, but the Cyber Resilience Act allows creating new delegated acts where UCC can be used to demonstrate conformance to the CRA requirements for some critical products. So summarizing, UCC is not mandatory by itself, but may be required by other regulations.
Yeah, and also adding to what Javier just said, for example, we have ADAS regulation in Europe for digital signature and so on that is already mandating common criteria certification. So very likely they will mandate EUCC certification. As far as I know, it is not already changed. And there are other regulations in Germany, for example, for smart meters that they require a common criteria. I guess, so at the end, EUCC will be a tool. Okay,
Yeah.
at the European level or national level, they will be they can use, and I think it will be used. Okay, and also there is another factor that is marketing people, and sales people, So as soon as we have EUCC, a lot of people is asking us, I want to certify all my products EUCC, and sometimes I say to them, but you have certified one product once in your life, common criteria. Does it make sense? I don't know, but we have seen this kind of trend, and sales people and marketing people are a little nervous that the competitors could have UCC and could differentiate. And I think it's not fair, because I prefer that we do things based in technical requirements, but it's the situation we have now. Okay.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think sometimes, well, something that comes up is we talk about member states and we talk about EUCC. So member states individually, can they continue to recognize CCRA certificates? So if I'm selling into the EU and I have a federal salesperson telling me, we need EUCC because we're selling into EU, is it possible that a member state could actually still just refer to the Common Criteria portal? Oh, there's your CCT certificate. Is that still a viable path, do you think?
Yeah. Indeed, it's a possibility that is open in the current text of the EUCC. So the current text says that member states are allowed individually to recognize certificates emitted in other countries. So, for example, Germany may decide to recognize former Spanish certificates emitted under the CCRA, while may also allow recognition of current NIAP certificates. This is a decision that is up to the individual member states. But I don't really know how they should take this decision. So I guess that you can expect national laws on how do you implement UCC at a national level, and in this kind of laws you should find this kind of decision whether you are recognizing or not other non-UCC certificates. This possibility is open for a time lapse of 5 years. So every member state is expected to stop recognizing non-UCC certificates in 5 years. But for the time being, as kind of a transition period, this is allowed.
Yeah. No, I think that's helpful.
In 5 years, a lot of things can change. They can.
Yeah.
There can be a new implementing act. There can be so. My view, for example, in Spain, that in the CEPSTIC catalog, all the NIAP PP certifications can be reused. I don't think that the Spanish government will mandate everyone to come and to have an UCC. But this our case. Okay.
Yeah, so I think it behooves when a product certifications team is being asked for a particular an EUCC, for example, it might be worthwhile digging into, okay, where is this coming from, which nation, what are their requirements? Maybe what we already have is actually meets the requirement. But there will be vendors who, for various reasons, need to undertake EUCC or want to. And so in that circumstance, and perhaps they already have, NIAP certifications. So one example might be, I just completed a NIAP certification. Can I now do some sort of top up and get an EUCC cert for the same thing? What would you propose for those vendors in that camp?
Yeah, in the absence of mutual recognition agreements, sadly, the best solution is currently having two certificates, one for NIAP and another one for the EUCC. However, this doesn't mean to repeat the evaluation effort 2 times, because at the end of the day, the standard is still the same. It's just common criteria. So I guess that currently bigger evaluation labs with multiple locations have a kind of a competitive advantage to do the evaluation technical report once and send it to 2 different certification bodies, resulting in 2 certificates, one for NIAP and another one for the EUCC. Then it may depend on customer needs. If your priority is having an EUCC certificate, then maybe you can lead the project from Europe, while if your priority is having a NIAP certificate, then the project should be led from the USA.
Yeah, I think from legal perspective, the main points, you need to do the testing in Europe. Okay, the testing must be carried out in Europe, but as you know, as we are discussing internally, to have teams that can collaborate, and I think the test plan, the evaluation of the security target, there is a lot of reuse, that I think the lab that is able to optimize that, and being able to reuse the more, it will be the winner in this situation. But it's difficult as you need to do projects, and you need to be able how much you are able to reuse. But for sure, this is our challenge for this year.
Yeah, and so one of the questions coming up in the chat is if I do need to go down this path of doing 2 certs, what's the other than having to obviously say in the EU we need to repeat all of the testing efficiently, but what are the differences between, okay, I've got an NDCPP certificate, not a network device collaborative protection profile cert, what can you just itemize maybe some of the add-on things that would be extra that will be new to vendors?
Go Javier.
In terms of the standard, it's the same, but EUCC comes with new obligations, like, for example, the vulnerability handling and so on. So for bigger vendors, I think this is something that they are already doing. For some minor product developers, maybe a bit challenging at the beginning, but there is indeed, as I said before, the standard is the same. So there are not so many differences.
What about wasn't there a requirement for to include ALC FLR or something like that?
No longer.
No longer. Oh, okay, that's gone.
Yeah. The first version of the EUCC scheme, because the ad hoc working group, the NISA, they created a let's say draft of the scheme, describing how would everything work, but now it's an European law. So if you look at the law, there is no requirement for ALC FLR, which was in this draft version of the scheme, so it's no longer mandatory.
Okay.
You have the possibility to use the patch management. And use this ISO technical specification, and this comes with some advantage in terms of assurance continuity, but it's not mandatory. So if you don't want to use patch management, you are not required.
And do you think, stick with network device. Do you think that NIAP, we get the NDCPP security target, and it's all the same as we're used to, and then EUCC, will it be an EAL1 substantial certificate, or will it be conforms to the network device collaborative protection profile? Like, what will be the conformance claim on the EUCC side? Will it have to be different, do you think?
Yes, indeed. In the absence of a mutual recognition agreement,
Yeah.
I cannot claim conformance to an NIAP PP. So
Right.
this is
Yeah.
the basis of everything. Besides that, I can create a security target with almost the same content as the protection profile and have an evaluation against this. But going further, we will create the European protection profiles, and hopefully we can reuse the work of the technical communities. Indeed, as we learned from Nuria's presentation, for the higher levels of assurance, you are required to provide some guidance on how you will do the testing and so on. And this guidance is usually part of the collaborative protection profiles created in the United States. So it will be really nice to reuse this work and somehow combine this guidance for testing with the higher assurance level that we are used to in Europe. So we will see how the future shapes.
Yeah, but Lachlan, I think the certificate, Javier, if I remember well, will include ABABAN.1. No, that is the one of the NIAP PP. So in the certificate, the assurance level of ABABAN will appear. So I guess for evaluation carried out with NDCPP, you will have a certificate saying ABABAN.1.
Right.
I guess,
Okay.
Let's see.
And yeah,
I'm telling because if you are just copying and pasting the contents of the protection profile, you could evaluate against another assurance level. So
AVM
sounds a possibility.
Yeah. And then I do want to get to another question from the Q&A chat regarding vulnerability reporting. So at the moment, do we understand the requirements around how that's done? Is that still a bit fluid in terms of format of report, timing, things like that? I'm envisaging like some vendors will just have to have a monthly cadence of reporting, 100 vulnerabilities or something like that, or thousands of vulnerabilities. Any light you can shed on that aspect?
I mean, for sure, it's something new, okay? Because CAPs currently are not doing monitoring and so on. What, talking to Nuria also, the vulnerability handling procedures and process have to be sent to the ITSEF and the CB, okay? And also when we are doing now quotations for EUCC, to be honest, we are adding an extra package for that part because we don't really know what the certification body will mandate from us. It's just checking that they have a procedure. We need to check if the procedure is efficient and good enough. So we know that we need to do some checks, but this part is a little uncertainty. Anyway, I guess that they will start with something, we'll need to do something, and then there will be maybe more guidance on how to do by the ITSEF.
Currently, there is a group working on vulnerability handling for certified solution, trying to describe all the communication flows and so on. There is people are worried about, specifically manufacturers are worried about timelines. Because you need to fulfill the obligations mandated by the EUCC, and probably there will be requirements on the time that you are allowed to notify a vulnerability since when you get aware of this vulnerability. There will be times also to react on this vulnerability, but this is still under discussion. And the expectation is that a guidance document will be published in the coming months dealing with these vulnerability handling procedures.
And that's applicable at substantial and high,
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are concerns on sharing vulnerability information, moreover when potentially you may have composition, critical security products involved. So there is a lot of discussion on this topic, but there's still nothing published.
Very good. And then one other question regarding state-of-the-art documents. Can you maybe just restate or kind of in layman's terms, well, how are state-of-the-art documents applicable, or how do they influence the scope of an evaluation?
Yeah, it's a bit complicated. I guess that regulations and law is always complicated, at least for me as a technical guy. So, so the first thing that we need to take into account is that EUCC is a law. So this is like very powerful. One of the good things that we have seen is that law can be changed. So, EUCC was released first version beginning of 2024, and by December 2024, they already published an amendment. So, good news, they are open to changes. That said, EUCC considers two types of documents. One are these state-of-the-art documents, and the other one are the guidance documents. The main difference is that state-of-the-art documents are fully mandatory. And therefore, if you publish a new state-of-the-art document or even a new version of a state-of-the-art document, you need to amend the law. Guidance is good to do, but it's not mandatory.
Yeah, but I think in practice, for example, state-of-the-art documents are the previous SOJAS documents for how to do smart card evaluation, how to do hardware device evaluations. Okay, and there are additional state-of-the-art documents of accreditation requirements, accreditation of the ITSEF, minimum site security requirements, how to do the site audit. So at the end, it's like, well, a document you need to follow in the evaluation, but we were doing before. Okay, so they were already in place. So I don't think it's a big change.
Yeah. Okay, I see we're at the top of the hour here. Jose, do we?
Yeah, I think we can close anyway. I think everyone knows us. Most of the people that are, and if not, you can find us. And also, we will publish the webinar recordings and also the presentation of Nuria. So if you have a specific question, I think we have tried to tackle most of the most interesting topics. Unfortunately, this is evolving. I mean, last week we have the audit with our accreditation body for the CAP, and new doubts and new questions have arisen, and they said that we will discuss with ENISA. I think everyone is trying to go as fast as possible, but still we are slower than the industry needs. So I think we need to be practical. We need to do things the best that we can, but for sure, I think for us, for example, in our case, now we will need to collaborate more, the teams in North America, the teams in Europe, and try to be able to offer something that is meaningful for our customer, that they don't need to do twice the effort, the money, and the time. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks all.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.